Hello, hello, and welcome to today's vlog. I'm journaling my journey as part of my world tour, and my world tour being my adventures around this world in this lifetime. And I'm starting out here in Bonnie, Scotland, um, and I'm off for a few days to visit some really magical places and beautiful souls. And this is my first stop, so I'm just here at a shopping centre just outside of the city of Edinburgh. It's quite a small city, and so um, everything's pretty small, including this shopping centre as well. And it's actually really beautiful. Like the trees are all really nice. Um, and yeah, I'll explain a little bit about the the journey that I'm going on over the next few days. And then I'd like to give you some updates on what's going on in my life just now and some reflections. Um, yeah, so the plan is today I'm meeting up with my dear friend Natasha just early afternoon, and we're catching up and we have some ideas about doing some work together. So that's really exciting. And we have worked together in the past. Uh, we have run an event together, and that was really magical. So yeah, looking forward to doing more work with Natasha. And then a bit later on, I'm also meeting one of my members from my highest self membership group. So they live in the area, which is really cool. So we're going to meet up and have a coffee. If it's not raining, which it does look like it might be raining later, then we're going to go for a walk. And yeah, that's just really cool to um, yeah. I'm just thinking like I'm not sure I've ever met one of my customers before. I've met people who become my customers, but not the other way around. So that's so exciting. And then there's also tonight I'm going to head up to Dollar. So Dollar is a little town. Um, I think from my home it's not that far. It's like an hour or an hour and 30 minutes. Um, it's the place where I have grew up for a couple of years at least, maybe 2 or 3 years. I'm not sure how many years we lived there as a family. But I must have been from the age of maybe two until the age of 5, 4.5, 5. Um, I remember it vividly because it was a really beautiful rural place, and I hope to show you it tonight, or if I'm there early enough and it's light, or tomorrow. So that'll be really exciting. And also, we were renovating an old house there, and then moved into it, and so that was a lot of fun as well. Was I had a lot of memories about living in a caravan in the garden while we were busy renovating the place, and the challenges of having like a nice warm home and stuff. So that was all great fun. Um, and yeah, and so I'm not, and I love this, like it's van life, right? Like you get to choose where you go and what you do. I'm not sure if I'll stay in Dollar, nearby Dollar, in the first night, and then in the second night, probably as well in the area because I'll be meeting a second um, customer tomorrow for a coffee and a chat. Um, and so that would take us through to Wednesday night. And then Thursday, I'm going into Edinburgh to meet up with my stepbrother. And we haven't seen each other in many years, and it'd be fantastic to catch up. And all this time, I have my little dog, Patch, just down here. I would move this camera tripod, but I think it would just fall over. So yeah, we'll be van buddies for the whole time. Where do I start? Let me start with a dream. Just giving you an update on what's going on. I had this really incredible dream last night. Um, I have many incredible dreams, and this one I had last night was about there's like this theme where I go on missions at night. So I go to um, it feels like places on Earth. but it's almost like we go to this ship, like the spaceship outside of Earth, like a galactic federation ship, where we meet as a team of eight. And then I'm not sure, like I don't think we look like I don't think we choose to look like, you know, me, John, just now. It's like I'm in another body or another form. And almost like I kind of astral project, like while I'm sleeping, that I'm projected into this other avatar of me. And when when we're going together as a team of eight, we go onto Earth and we go through lots of missions where we're often just cleaning up um, the place with like if there's negative energy or entities that are there, and it can include like the third dimension, fourth dimension, and others. And so it's really just helping the world at this time, and it's there's always this theme of like helping remove the unseen, like unseen to perhaps the human eyes, or just hidden from us in terms of location. And so, and there's nowhere, it's like there's nowhere out of bounds. Like we can travel anywhere, underground or in buildings or wherever it is in the planet. Um, and it's common for me not to remember the detail of the mission. And John, find that helpful because although I have some recollections of some of them and some of them very vivid, when I learn consciously about these different locations, it affects me. I think of that place. I think of what I know about that place. And of course, it's like it's helpful to have that separation because I don't need to know consciously until I'm ready to learn about it. And I feel like if I asked, I would get the answers. Um, but for now, it's helpful for me to know. I do know that I'm doing good and I'm really helping others, and that feels good. It leaves me feeling waking up in the morning with a good feeling. The second, uh, so like the main memory of last night's dream was that when I woke up, I just, or it was just before I woke up. I think it was, in fact, I looked at the clock. It was 4:44 a.m. And I remember just, uh, it's common in these dream missions to have like a debriefing. And this is the first time I've seen a debrief where we were um the team of eight of us were kind of traveling back in like a dormitory. So there's like this shared room. So there was the eight of us and we all had like our separate beds. They reminded me a bit like you'd see like in a military barracks, like their beds kind of lined up, or in a hostel, like a youth hostel. And what I saw was one of my teammates, like I'd walked over to ask them because they'd gone into their bed. I don't think everyone else kind of stood around chatting. And so I was chatting with them as they're lying in their bed and they're upset. Like they were just in between kind of crying and just frustrated and annoyed. And they were saying, I don't want to go back. They said, I don't want to go back to my normal life. I don't want to wake up from this dream. I like being like I am when I'm dreaming because I can do all these different things. I have all these different abilities. And I feel like all of me is fully integrated. But when I wake up and I'm back on Earth in my day-to-day human life, that I feel separated from that. I feel like I have to go into meditations or into like long, sessions, like, a hypnosis session or a quantum healing session or a past life session, like that they are separate to my day-to-day life. And I was reassuring them saying, you can do it. Like you can integrate like all these different psychic and energetic abilities um into your human life. Like it just takes work and it takes some faith and trust in yourself and practice. Um, and they were saying, "Oh, but it's so hard, and I don't really know how to do it." And I just remember saying, like, I'll help you. I'll help you with that. Um, and then I woke up and I reflected, and a bit like I've described this story to you using the first person, um, some of that, is true for me. Like there's a reason for everything, right? It's a reason for remembering some of this. And I felt like I'm both guided to help teach people how to use their psychic abilities um, in day-to-day life, for everything you do. Um, and then that by on that journey of teaching people, I also need to do a lot of practice myself to continue to bring that integration together. And I really love that reflection, that message, because I feel like I've learned so much metaphysically, quantum energy healing, protection, clearing negative energies and entities, introducing people to their spirit guides and talking with them, past life regression, astral uh, projection, um, light language, like grid work, talking with trees and stones. Like it's just a very long list of what many people still on this planet would describe as like woo woo. Like it's out there, and these are all subjects that many people find hard to believe in, um, and they sound like more like Harry Potter. And it's quite funny, right? Because what I love about Harry Potter, and I think Harry Potter and that genre, what it's really helped us with, is helped us at least look for the magic in these moments around us. Um, because the reality is it's around us all the time. And it's happening all the time. Like let me share one thing that happened yesterday. I haven't told anyone yet. Um, yesterday, so I was asking for a quote for some solar panels on um, the roof of this camper van. And the guy that was doing a quote for me said, could you measure the space? So there I was up on a ladder doing a measuring tape. And I thought, I know, I'll just take a photo. And I turned my phone on its side. And I'm doing this with one hand because I had to hold on to the camper van with the other. And then just as I took the photo, the phone slipped out of my hand. And now, given the height is 2.5 meters high, and my phone, the only protection it has no screen protection at all. Um, it just has like a kind of rubber kind of around the edges and backing cover. It then spun and it bounced and it like hit the ladder twice and then it hit the ground and then it bounced under our caravan. And I was like, oh, like I'm meant to be like, looking after my belongings and money because I've just left my corporate job and I'm starting a business. And those are the things going through my mind. And I just thought, well, what will be will be. And so I went and looked under the caravan and picked up my phone, and my phone is completely untouched. Like not a scratch, nothing. Like how I've dropped phones like, that distance and they've cracked, or put them down too hard and they've cracked, let alone drop them from 2.5 meters. I mean, it's easily 2.5 meters high, straight onto a hard, uh, like tarmac asphalt, driveway. So that was cool. And so there's magic in that, right? And there was lots of magic in it. There was so many kind of lessons at once, like realizing how dependent I am on my phone. And just my son was saying to me recently, like, you're always on your phone. Um, and I said, yeah, like I do acknowledge like I have an addiction to being on my phone. And I seek, although my work is very much tied to it, I seek ways each day, um, in my behaviors of not looking at my phone, not using my phone, and when I do use it, using it very mindfully and consciously. Like for instance, I really don't scroll. It just the thought of leaving it to an algorithm, to constantly show me the next thing that I should be interested in, I don't resonate with. I like searching for stuff, and sometimes I look at the recommendations, like on that already appear on the page, but that's it. Anyway, that was one lesson, and also just if I lost the phone, it's just like, well, that's it. And I do know a great site, a website for getting secondhand phones, and so that's stops it from being hundreds and hundreds of pounds to maybe a couple £100 for for a really new phone, which is fantastic. Still a lot of money. I'm so glad I didn't have to pay that. Um, but yeah, there's lots of ways that we can use our psychic abilities, um, and it's quite interesting. Like all you really need to do is ask, and it's as simple as that. Like you need to ask for help from your highest self or your higher self, like the kind of highest intuition of yourself. Or you can ask your spirit guides. I also ask for help, like we're in a car park just now, a parking lot. I also ask my um, parking fairy. I also have a traffic fairy, but parking fairy is like, if you haven't already tried using a parking fairy, they are just super fun. And my family are always laughing at me. Like if they didn't think I was like woo woo enough, I'll say as we get closer to a place. So the way it works is the closer you get to like a car park, parking lot, or place that you want to find a parking space, you need to say out loud, "Parking fairy, I would like to find the perfect parking space for me." And then you have to describe it, right? So you could describe it. I want, if I'm in my camper van, I'd say I want lots of space for my camper van, and I want it to be close by to the entrance of the building. Um, or I might say, I want it further away. I want it on the outside of the car park or parking lot so that I can get, plenty of space, and it just feels good. Um, and it's so funny, like it's almost uncanny. I would say, and I'd like to thank my parking fairy. Um, I would say about 80 to 90% of the time, um, probably higher, that exactly that happens. And it's like a miracle, but you need to watch for it as well, right? Like if you don't if even like 5% of you believes that you could find that perfect parking space just by asking your parking fairy, then the biggest thing you need to do is look for it, because as you get closer to the parking space that you really want, you'll find that the other vehicles are moving out the way. If they're not already out the way, they're about to move out the way. And so um, you can slow down. That helps, like driving slow. But yeah, you can like slow down a little bit. And what you're doing is you're allowing yourself to see the magic, to witness it happening, because the universe is constantly conspiring to support you. It's constantly trying to figure out ways to help you. And all you need to do is firstly ask for help, and then secondly, even more importantly, receive it. And you'll find even that even when you're not asking for help, that if you just keep an eye out, all these magical things happen. People move out of the way, a parking space is freed up. Um, you may see a parking space that you've never seen before. Um, so yeah, definitely recommend practicing car parking space. Uh, how does that work with like your psychic abilities, etc.? Is it just kind of a trick or magic? Um, it is, a lot of it is in your trust and belief and in knowing. So, so yeah, these aspects like of following this intuition, and I would say that for the hundreds of times I've used a parking fairy, the most important thing is um, yes, asking is super, super helpful, but you need to look for and listen. Now, if you listen to, my son, he'd probably tell you, he's always complaining at me saying, "Oh, you're never taking that space. You're always like saying goodbye to these other spaces." And it's because I'm often looking for a better space. Um, and also each of us, just like my son and I, get to choose individually what we believe is the best for us. And so you'll find the best one for you. Okay, that's one example. I'm trying to think if there's another. Um, I when I approach a new place, and it could be a place I'm parking at. In fact, I did it this morning when I parked our camper van here. I mean, there was just tons of spaces, so I didn't even bother asking my parking fairy. But it was quite ironic because when I turned up, there's like there must be hundreds of spaces here that are just like totally free for us to use, like loads of space. Like there's probably uh, eight free spaces that way, another five there. There's about 20 on the other side behind me. Over here behind me, I think it's almost there's just a couple of cars. So there's tons of space. But I was saying to my guides, so I just said, which felt like a blend of my own intuition. And by my own intuition, I mean like feeling into the landscape. I was really interested in the trees because they're really beautiful. I was feeling into the parking area around me, getting a sense of who's parked here as well. Like, um, sometimes you want to give other people privacy when they're sat in the car on a call for a long time. Sometimes they're really loud because they don't think you can hear them. Um, Also, often like attracts like, and so I saw another white van. Mine's a black and white van, but I saw another white van just parked over there. It's since gone. So I was like just getting a feel for like the different spaces that would be helpful because I'll be here for like 2 or 3 hours. Um, and so then um, after asking, I said like where should I park? And I was guided to park um, in the center here, which I wouldn't usually do. I like to be kind of off to the side. And the my guide was saying, "Oh, you should stay in the center because first of all, I'm meeting with my friend Natasha, and so it's easy for her to see. And then secondly, the way that the road slopes is that it slopes down into the center, so just almost just here, just below me in the center of our van. And I've still got a few little drips coming from my new water tank that I've installed. Um, and and I thought, well, that's good because if I park on the side, I don't want to leave like a big trail of water because I just don't think it gives like van lifers, people in motorhomes, camper vans, or whatever, a good image for having like liquids of any kind leaking out of your vehicle, even though it's literally just water, it's fresh water. Um, so yeah, I think that was really helpful. And my guide said, park here. It's a really nice space, and you'll like it. You'll like being able to see all around you. Um, and yeah, that felt good. And so when I parked here, and then Patch and I went for a little walk, we also like energetically connected with the area and just felt into like what does it feel like around here. Um, and yeah, I really just enjoyed the walk. The trees are really beautiful. Um, I had a really nice remembrance. Sometimes it feels a bit like a past life when I think back to when I first started in my software career. But one of my second job was very close here. It was just in a industrial estate just behind these trees across the road. And I was asking the trees like how old they were just as I walked past them. You can just do it, right? I mean, you can say it out loud, right? You can like it might feel a bit funny if someone hears you, but like, is it really the worst thing in the world if someone finds you talking to a tree? I mean, they are alive. We know in modern science that plants benefit from us singing and talking to them. So, you know, like feel comfortable in your own skin. So I just and someone did hear me. They kind of looked at me as I said. I just passed this big tree. They maybe like these not sycamore. I don't know what sort of trees these are. Conifers maybe. But anyway, I just asked. There was one down there. It was quite big. Got a big thick trunk, and I just said, "How old are you?" And it said to me, "John, I was planted um, about 24 years ago, uh, just when I was here first, and I was being shown like when I was walking around the industrial estate, walking to go to my first interview here, and I was like, wow, that's incredible. And then it helped me reflect on what it was like. I felt like a young boy back then. And I reflect on how much I've grown and changed since then. And now having left that career, just how magical and exciting that is. So that was really cool. Um, and then as I turned the corner, so in the shopping center, the way this works is that from the offices nearby, there's like these feeding paths, and they have like crossings to come across to get across the busy roads, and then they take you into these different entrances in the shopping center, and almost exclusively the people that are walking backwards and forwards at this time of the day during a working day are office workers, many of them in corporate companies. And it just made me think, if you want to go and talk to, if you want to catch someone and talk to them about, mindfulness or setting up a new business or like it's a great place because you've kind of got their attention as they pass. You know, likely that they're working for one of the surrounding companies. You just do a little bit of research of what happens there. But psychically, because I wondered like, well, I could just talk to someone now, right? I just this woman was approaching me, and then I like reflected on it and thought I could do this instead of just like cold calling, people without really thinking it through and feeling into the intention or the vibration. I thought I just felt into would that woman want to talk to me, like first of all, and then secondly, would they be interested in mindfulness or perhaps some of my other services? And I just thought she might be, and I felt like there was a potential opportunity there, and I just felt like I would want to um, practice this and get good at uh, first of all overcoming a little bit of my own like fear and approaching people, and then secondly know what to say. What would be the thing that I'd want to talk to people about, and feeling into it, not just repeating the same thing, but being able to connect with them and their energy and actually help them. Like I'm not just trying to sell stuff to people. I actually want to help them. And also want the money for is to be able to sustain my life and fill my cup so I can help more people. Um, so yeah, that was a really beautiful reflection. Anyway, we're almost at 30 minutes and I've got my friend coming. I need to cook some dinner, some lunch. If I just flip the camera around, you can see there's the kitchen. Um, so I'm going to get out my little toaster and make some toast, perhaps some mackerel on toast. And yeah, looking forward to sharing more. I really love this freedom and space to be able to connect with you and share. Um, and yeah, thank you so much. If you have any questions, I love getting questions because when you ask me questions, it gives me focus on the thing topics you'd like me to cover next. So thank you so much. Sending so much love from the outside of Edinburgh in Scotland. Love you.